Hello, welcome to another crypto chart. I'm Fausto Botelho, broadcasting from Brazil, and here with our last video of 2019. We're going to take a look in the S&P that it's in its all-time high, meaning that the world has never been as rich as it is right now, as of yesterday. The fortune of Bill Gates has never been so big. The portfolio of the Saudi Arabia sovereign fund has never been so high, and so on. Mergers and acquisitions are just in its biggest moment ever in history. People are buying companies and so on. This is good by one side, but it's very worry by the other side. We know that this is happening. The market has broken its all-time high because the US has issued one of the biggest monetary helps to banks of all times, $450 billion that it is injecting in the market in the near future. So this is worrying because we also know that there is the United States election next year, and there's a big right-left issue going on, and especially now there is the real possibility for the left to take over the United States. So I think the war is big, is being fought in a very ferocious way, and the stock markets are on it. One thing that can tell us about what's going on, it's gold, and gold prices have risen wildly. Will it be because the stock market is rising? Will it be because instead of the market it's going up, it's the dollar that it's going down? And if the dollar goes down, gold goes up, right? So remains to be seen. But let's skip with the technical analysis and take a look in the chart, starting by the S&P, shall we? Here it is. The S&P, and again we're in all-time high. No, not today. This is yesterday. I'm doing this video in the 27th of December, and we can see here the market closing in the high ever. That's the S&P. Well, I so far have projected these objectives here. The first one would be a projection of this ascending triangle. And over here, we project the height of this triangle above from its resistance line, and we come here to the 3,300 level, more or less, which would mean the market would have another 3.6% upward movement. Or we then project this upward movement that started in 2016 until the top that has been broken, and projected from the low here in the end of 2018, and we come to 3,700, which would mean another upward movement of 14%. That's so far the objectives that we are projecting, but we have to remember that the market so far has clearly made 1, 2, 3, and it's starting its fourth upward movement. Charles Dow, in the beginning of last century, would say in what later became the Dow theory that the market usually makes 3 upward movements. So we're breaking by the book with this new upward movement, meaning that at any moment things can revert. So of course we're going to be here analyzing every and each reversal that we have, but so far yeah, because also we have to consider that the market is still below, or it's we could say that it is right now it just passed above the former support trend line. But I have to admit also that this trend line can be movable. But if we move it here in the beginning, you can see that it doesn't change very much the position that it takes in the end here, right? So but anyway, the market is still below, or it's just now surpassing this former trend line. And so what is it that we have to guide this new trend line? Will it be a new trend line? Would we have to adjust this trend line to here or here? It just doesn't change too much. Yeah, maybe that's the new trend line of the market. Let's see if we can grab it on a channel. Yes, we can grab it on a channel. And the projection that I made fits with this guideline here from the upward trend channel. The market would reach 37. If it keeps on this path, it would be reaching 37 in April next year, and then it would be reaching this upward guideline of the upward trend line. So that's what's going to be my level of guidance now. Of course, if the market comes down and breaks these very important support level, now we're gonna start being bearish. But you know, a upward trend only finishes when it ends. Only ends when it finishes, if you like. So we're in an upward movement, and there it is. We have to expect the market to go up and eventually keep placing our stops and see what happens, right? There's a lot of stocks in the US that are really showing upward movement, but there's also a lot of stocks that are not signing down these upward movements. So back to the charts. Here's the Nasdaq, also in its all-time high. I'm projecting 9,200 for the Nasdaq 100. And here's the Dow, where we can see the century upward trending of the Dow. Maybe we will have to now use this upward movement. Will we? No, not yet. But well, besides that, we can see that in this upward trend channel that the market, it's reaching its the level, well, it's getting close to the level of 1929, which was well pulled off the limits, right? So it's time to be aware and to use stops. That's the only thing I can see. Really, the breaking of this very important resistance level and the pullback and the pivot that was formed, it's very bullish indeed. So we should expect the market to go higher. So now let's see what gold tells us. On the other hand, here's what gold tells us, that yes, the market is going up, but if the US keeps printing money, then let me take this out. If the US keeps printing money, then gold goes up, because gold gets more valuable compared to the inflated US dollar, right? So that's the one thing we have to worry about. And let's also take a look in the oil prices. WTI in the US. Let me close this. Here we go. I have showed here in the channel other times that the market was testing these levels. It now went above these levels, and has it broken this resistance at 61? Apparently yes, but there's still this 63 level here that was reached in September and then produced a bull trap. So let's wait and see, because I still think we're watching here a reversal, a continuation pattern, a rectangle after this. The market started to revert when it reached this resistance level here that is defined by this top of 2015 and this bottom here in 2018. So in 2019, specifically here in April, the market broke this important resistance level, then came back, and so you see that this top that happened in September was exactly in this level, this important resistance level. So let's see what happens when the market reaches this level here. If oil goes up, it is endorsing the upward movement of the stocks. But if it starts going down, then it's not endorsing signing down the upward movement of stocks. So it's one more thing to be in alert if oil comes down, because it's now going up as I've shown you. So let's go to the cryptos now, starting with Bitcoin, which I still think is going to much higher levels. Just remembering, whenever we take this weekly chart, is daily, I'm changing to weekly chart now, and we see the long-term chart of Bitcoin. I have created a thesis that this first upward movement has to be deleted, because in terms of measuring the cycle of Bitcoin. And that's because that was the birth, the birth of Bitcoin. It went from 0 to 35, then came down near 2, and then it leveraged at $5. So I understand this was the birth of Bitcoin and shouldn't be considered in terms of Elliott Wave cycle. So if we take that as good, as granted, then we had so far wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and in my opinion, we are in wave 5. And why is that? Because when analyzing this downward movement that was produced in 2019 and 18, I can clearly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or else an impulsive wave, and then a descending triangle, which is by nature a corrective wave, and then another impulsive wave, and then a inverted head and shoulders, and then I can clearly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or in other words, an impulsive wave, which I think is wave 1 of wave 5. Now, the point is that if I'm correct, we're looking at wave 2 of wave 5, right? Let's go back to the long-term chart. So just comparing to other situations, wave 1, we would be here in this new upward movement that could be compared to this upward movement and to this other upward movement, or else waves 1 and waves 3. And so we would be about to enter wave 3. We would be about to enter wave 3, which in my opinion would take prices above the all-time high, $20,000, and probably near $50,000. So if I'm correct, we then have to analyze wave 2. And analyzing wave 2, if we go down to the hourly chart, I see that first we had a inverted head and shoulders here, which I think it's meaningful. And then we had a reversal here. And also we had the market breaking the support level and then rebounding and with this huge upward movement here, wild upward movement, and back to the daily chart. Back to the hourly chart. Back to the daily chart. I am then considering that we have so far done a double bottom here, and I think wave 2 is finished. So yes, I think this is a wonderful time for one to buy Bitcoin, considering, yeah, that's the important thing. So what? Where's it going? I don't know, but we can ask the market, and whenever we ask the market, it tells us what it has done in previous upward movements. So if we take only the last portion of wave 3, which would be wave 5 of wave 3, then we're heading to $60,000. If we take wave 3 and imagine the market would copy wave 3, we're going to $300,000. And if the market eventually happens to copy wave 1, we're heading to $750,000. But if you ask me which wave would be the bigger, or what do I think on wave 5, which is the one I think we're on now, I would say that wave 5, it's probably the biggest one, because it's the one filled with the most euphoria. So it could well be that this wave 5 would take the market to $1 million. Yeah, in that sense, I do agree with John McAfee, except that I'm not cutting any part of my body if it doesn't get there. Okay, so I'm very bullish on Bitcoin indeed. And if we take a look in the market right now, I'm going straight to the 15-minute chart. We can see that it just gave us another bear trap, because you see all these all the support done by this accumulation from the 19th to the 22nd was felt at the end by the market over here. We could even draw a support line over here. And you can clearly see that the market broke this level and then re-entered this level, producing probably in BitMEX a lot of long positions. I mean, short positions have been liquidated. I just want to show you something here. If you want to help the channel and subscribe to BitMEX, please use this link. You can copy with your photo app in your phone, and also in the link in the comments below there's links for Binance too, if you want to subscribe to Binance, or if you want to log in Binance, please use the link below. You'll be helping the channel. So this is it. Very bullish to Bitcoin. I think in the near term, the market will be seeing the market above 8,000 and heading to, and if that happens, I think we're on the way to break this resistance line, and it's a very important line. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, almost 5 touches in the line already. So whenever that happens, the market will be in wave 3 of wave 5. You can expect wild upward movements when that happens, and I would expect the market to just pass by the last stop at almost $14,000, and heading to the all-time high at 20,000. Can you imagine what's going to happen if the market breaks the all-time high? If Bitcoin goes above $20,000, woo, mainstream is going to go wild to buy Bitcoin, I would think. So now I'm going to show you the cryptos that we're keeping an eye on. It's 8 cryptos, and here we go. Let's put it all in daily charts, starting with Bitcoin Cash. Well, we're taking a look in Bitcoin Cash because it's in a rectangle, in a downward trend, testing its all-time low, and it's flagging down in this rectangle. So whenever this flag breaks, I think it has a lot to go. Yes, you can win selling Bitcoin Cash in BitMEX. Please know what you're doing, and especially if you leverage your position. We have the we have a method that we use here, which is the most important thing. Basically, with our dealer method of trading the market, what you do is that you fix the percentage amount that you will eventually lose if the original stop of your position is reached. And that should be from 1% to less of your total portfolio. So do your math. It's very simple. Calculate the percentage distance of your stop. Then divide your position, your total capital, by the distance of your stop. For instance, if your stop is 10% away from your entry price, let's say you're going long, you're buying a position in Bitcoin, for instance. The stop is 10% away. You want to lose 1%, only 1% of your total position. That means you will have to put in that position 10% of your capital, because if you lose 10% of 10% of your capital, you're going to lose 1% of your total capital. You have 10 Bitcoins, stop is 10% away. You will divide 10 Bitcoins by 10 equals 1 Bitcoin. That's what you're going to put in that position, because if you lose 10% of 1 Bitcoin, you're going to be losing 1% of 10 Bitcoins, which is 0.1 Bitcoin, right? That's the most important thing, my friend. Do it. You don't go after getting rich fast, because you're going to get poor very fast, much faster than you can imagine, because it will affect your mindset. It will affect your psychological. You won't be able to balance your psychological. You'll be entering a bipolar situation in which you're going to win a lot or lose a lot. Sometimes you're going to, without knowing, you're going to enter a position and do as the rest. Most of the people fixes the amount of Bitcoins it invests, or the amount of dollars it invests in a certain position. But the stop is variable. Sometimes it's 5% away, sometimes it's 10% away. So whenever you do that, sometimes you might lose a little, other times you might lose a lot. If you lose 10% of your position, you know what happens? You're going to have to win 11% of your new position in order to come back to what you have. If you lose 15, you're going to have to win 17.5%. And if you lose 20%, you're going to have to win 25%. Yes, you have 100, you lose 20, you go to 80. Now 20 is 25% of 80. So if you can't lose, you can't afford to lose, because I tell you what, people don't get broke by losing in the markets. they get bankrupted whenever they go after the losses, whenever they try to recoup the losses that they had. That's when they do all wrong things. That's when they overtrade extremely, and that's when they get bankrupted. So back to the chart, I'm showing a possible short position here in Bitcoin Cash. Cosmos has broken this resistance level, was important, and then made a symmetrical triangle. It's now testing the top here. It's so far given us a shooting star, which means it's not breaking this level, but if it reverts, we think it's a good point to put in our portfolio. Ethereum Classic has gone up after flagging up, and it's now testing this resistance trend line. Let me show you something here. Ethereum is bad. Ethereum is going down. There is no, it broke this very important support level here, made a pullback, and it's probably going to produce as a pivot, breaking the support level here. So if Ethereum is that bad, eventually Ethereum Classic may improve because they're sort of competitors, right? So if I'm expecting the market to flag up here, and if it breaks this resistance level, I think it's going to be a very good indication that it might go at least until this resistance level here, and that would mean from here up some 50% upward movement. Not bad, right? Next one is Engine. Engine has broken this resistance trend level, and it's now accumulating in what I think is going to be a continuation pattern, a symmetrical triangle or something like that. So the thing is to follow it in the hourly chart, and whenever it gives us a clue that it's breaking this resistance trend line here, put it up, get it into the portfolio. That's the idea. And next one is IOS token, which broke this resistance trend line and is going sideways now in what I think is a rectangle. So in a rectangle, if you are a senior technical analyst, you're not going to be willing to buy whenever it breaks the resistance of the rectangle, right? You're going to be willing to buy whenever it reaches the support of the rectangle. You've already analyzed the accumulation, and you concluded that it's a continuation pattern. So you were proactive, in a proactive situation, expecting the market to produce a reversal, a candlestick reversal in the support of the rectangle, and then you buy it. So we're waiting for that in EOS token. If you buy it down here near the support and it goes to the next resistance level, which would be the projection of the rectangle, that would be meaning some 70% upward movement. Look at that. Yeah, 70% upward movement, not bad. LISC. Well, LISC, it's here because it broke this resistance trend level and came back and reverted. And it's now flagging up. So, and if it breaks this flag, it's going to be breaking this former support level, and which would mean it will be producing a bear trap here. So a pullback to the former resistance line and a bear trap. It's not bad, isn't it? Where should it go? Well, we can draw a Fibonacci line here, and it could go as far as this next resistance level here, which would be 0.382 correction in Fibonacci, meaning 70, almost 80% upward movement. Not bad as well, isn't it? Litecoin, well, we've said so far here on the channel many times that we were expecting this. We were looking at this and watching a descending triangle. It confirmed the triangle. It broke the support level, and it's now flagging down. So it's another short opportunity. From here to the objective would be 16% downward movement. not bad. You could also short that in BitMEX. And finally, Waves, which it's very clear for us that it's has a tremendous upward potential because it broke this resistance level here, trend line, and then went up, and it's now going sideways in what we think is a profit-taking situation. So keeping an eye on the hourly chart. Yesterday we thought I even bought something already because I understood it was breaking this resistance level, but it came down, but it went up again. Well, let's see if it's flagging up now, and if it breaks this resistance level, the upward movement would be here. It would be this next resistance level, which would mean from more or less here to there, 80% upward movement to 2. Not bad, right? Again, also. So this is it for 2019. I want to thank you very much for supporting the channel. Hope that you will have a wonderful 2019, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.